So what we will be doing today is comparing the Losi Tenacity DB Pro with the Losi 10 SCBE. Okay, so these two vehicles are very much alike. However, this is the first generation, and then this is, to my knowledge, I think this is the third gen of the Losi Tenacity or the 10. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you, the differences from the 10 to the Tenacity DB Pro. Let's get started. Okay, so comparing them side by side, all right. So pretty much the arms. Okay, so let's go over here. The arms on the Losi Tenacity DB Pro, it's basically the same thing as the Losi 10 SCBE. Now, I'm going to talk more about the Losi 10 SCBE than this one. This one I have run it just one time on asphalt, just a very light run. I didn't really use it on dirt much, stuff like that. That will come on to a later video. But this bad boy, okay, so when I remember when this thing came out brand new, if I can remember, this thing came out like in 2015, around there, 2016. When this thing came out, I purchased it, right when it came out. And first issue that I had was these turnbuckles. Okay, they're pretty much alike. The only thing that I did change out is these the ends, the plastic ends. These are from a Traxxas Slash. Okay, the reason is because every time you would hit, the tires and at any angle, the rods would push in, and it would throw off, the whole, measurement as far as toe or camber or what have you. So that's one of the things that I've had issues with right out of the box. Also, another thing, as you can see side by side, these obviously these are now more of a name brand. If I recall, I think these are the Falcon tires. I guess Losi got the sponsorship for Falcon. When this one came out, it was just a generic Losi tire. Okay, just same issue as I'm sure I'm gonna have issues with these. I did use this vehicle on water, so, and I didn't what's the word I'm looking for? I didn't vent my tires. But yeah, so water got accumulated, and there is foam, inside these tires. So water and debris got into there, and then so it made the foam solid. So every time I would run it, the tire would just basically, just wobble. So I really had to exchange that. So these are the if I'm not mistaken, these are the Proline Badlands. And yeah, I mean, this vehicle does really well with these tires. So now another comparison that we can do. So the new Losi Tenacity DB Pro comes with aluminum shocks. Okay, so the first gen just has, plastic generic, shock. They do feel, the same. But yeah, I mean, of course, aluminum looks, much nicer and whatnot. So, but yeah, I mean, I've never had any issues, with these shocks whatsoever. So yeah, that's another thing that I did notice, from the two. Also, the Losi Tenacity DB Pro is equipped with an LED light, and the Losi 10 SCBE is not. So, and also if you look in the rear, the Losi Tenacity DB Pro, does have a much bigger, wider wing. Onto the Losi 10 SCBE, it's just a small, basic wing. So that's another thing that did change over the years. So as you can see, even the roof, still the same way. Okay, even the roll cage, everything, even the drivers, have the same helmets or whatnot. So comparing them side by side, I'm very curious, and I'm sure, more than likely I would succeed, is with this body would fit on here. I'm very sure, I'm very positive that I can actually buy or purchase the body panels from a new Losi Tenacity DB Pro, and I can actually put them on my Losi 10 SCBE. So, I mean, why? Because, well, it's the same platform. So, okay, so looking down in the chassis itself, I know, this is basically the different color. Or maybe it could be a different material, who knows? But as you can see, the Losi 10 SCBE, it's all metal chassis, same way as the Losi Tenacity DB Pro. Okay, and so far, there's no changes, onto the chassis that I can actually point out. So yeah, so there you go. You can see it there. So something cool that I can point out, that is actually a good step up, from the 10, the Tenacity lineup, is that Losi stepped up their game now, and they actually put, these little rubbers, that hold the body pins, so you can actually just easily remove, the body clips, and well, all you gotta do is just push it up, and voila. Now onto this one. Okay, so body clips are loose. Let's see if I can remove them. Body clips are loose. And here's something that it's always been very annoying, when it comes with the Losi 10 SCBE. And that is, I don't know if you can see this, but that is the plastic antenna, that actually every time you would put the body down, as you can see, you really had to get in there and align it, and so you could actually, the body would fit. Sometimes that, you're on a rush or what have you, you would push it down, and so this thing would actually bend. So you have to be very careful, with that, with this, because if you start messing up, the antenna, that's when you start having reception issues and stuff like that. So that is something that really, really annoyed me. Now onto this one, as you can see, Losi did a really good job of just, not having that antenna pole, plastic pole. So you can just, push the body down, and boom, there you go. So that's actually, something that I guess maybe Losi fixed, or maybe, they just decided not to have this anymore. So yeah, and so far, I'm very happy with that. So, all right, so moving on to the next thing. Okay, so from here, we're going to go ahead and check out, the electronics. We're going to go ahead and, pop the plastic cover up here. I'm just going to have them like that. And so, yeah, so basically, this new Losi actually went to Harvard. He's highly educated, has a diploma, bachelor degree, what have you. So this thing has, what they call the IC5, that tells all the, telemetry, all that good stuff. And here, the new receiver, I don't know if my camera's actually catching that. Okay, so you can see the receiver. Okay, so I did actually bind this to my DX6R. And the cool thing about my DX6R is that I can actually shut off, the AVC completely on my remote. And of course, even the stock radio on this one, there's a little dial, like on the end, that you can just, twist, for more aggression for the AVC, or just, to turn it off. So, but yeah, on my remote, I can actually, physically, adjust the AVC, even to enable it or disable it. So yeah. So this is the older model receiver that's on the Losi 10 SCBE. So yeah, this vehicle does come equipped with the AVC feature. And of course, knowing me, so back then when you didn't want to have the AVC feature, what you would do is you would put the bind plug, up here, and then another bind plug underneath. And as you can see, it says disable. So you would pretty much, disable that feature. As soon as you would bind, it would bind to your remote, and then it would also disable the ESC. So also the servo is the same servo from the Losi Tenacity DB Pro to the Losi 10 SCBE. So this is 605, and then this is also a 605 Spectrum servo. And then the ESC, now they went with the smart technology, but if I can actually make an assumption, this is probably a Dynamite, probably a rebrand Dynamite, ESC and motor. So yeah, so this is the Losi Tenacity DB Pro, and this is the Losi 10 SCBE. So one of the major improvements of the Losi Tenacity DB Pro is actually this cover, that they put on there. And the reason why you will actually see, because here, the Losi Tenacity, I don't know if my camera's actually catching that, but the gears are exposed. Okay, so I did had issues, rocks getting in there, and we'd have clicking noises, and then the spur actually did kind of chipped a little bit. So yeah, so this whole area here, pinion, spur is exposed, rather than on the Losi Tenacity DB Pro, they actually put on this cover. So that's another cool thing, that they actually did improve, and I'm actually very happy about it. So, so now also onto the battery tray. The battery tray, it is the same. Okay, pretty much you do the clip, and the only thing is that this cover, it's still, if I'm not mistaken, this thing is a little bit more thicker. This little foam pad that they put here. I don't know if it's, yeah, so there you go. So yeah, it's a little bit thicker. I did try on my 3S on there, and actually I will have to raise this part a little bit up so this little door compartment can actually close. But on this one, as you can see, this foam pad is it's thinner. Okay, and as you can see, you can actually, since it's thinner, you can actually put a 2S or a 3S on there. Another issue that the Losi 10 SCBE had, that this one will no longer have, is once again, the Spur Gear, being fully exposed. And why am I bringing this up again? Is because if for some reason, you put your battery on here, and you actually, this can actually, eat up your battery. And that's actually happened to me. I don't know if my camera's catching that, but if the battery touches your Spur Gear, while it's driving, yeah, it's going to eat up your battery pretty bad. So let me go ahead and put a battery on there so you know what I'm talking about more. Alright, so you can see, I'm going to go ahead and close it. And you see the little gap between the battery and the spur. So let's say, for example, if the battery tends to move a little bit more this way, then yeah, this battery will be eaten up by that Spur Gear. Now, onto the DB Losi Tenacity DB Pro. Yeah, this cover really makes a difference. Okay, so I'm very happy, with this new setup. And lastly, to conclude, the Losi 10 SCBE. Okay, as you can see, it's pretty much the same thing as the Losi Tenacity DB Pro. Okay, they use the same chassis, the same diff. I don't know if the diff internals did change. That I would have to do my research on that. But as far as the chassis goes, everything, shocks, even the shock towers, and actually incorrect. So I'm learning that these are plastic and these are actually metal. So even that, this is what they so-call, the Losi Tenacity DB Pro. So as you can see, first gen, third gen, okay? And what I mean about third gen, well, the second gen was the Losi Tenacity DB, which, the difference was, that one's actually have a plastic chassis. I really haven't seen one up close yet, but I do know that the Losi Tenacity DB has a plastic chassis. The DB Pro has, the aluminum chassis underneath, just as like this one. This is also an aluminum. So basically, like I said, Losi 10, Losi Tenacity DB Pro, they're the same thing. So they also, have the same body, which is open and closes. So yeah, so there you go.